Hi everybody, welcome back. Before I get off on my latest plein air adventure, let me just show you and share with you what I'm actually going to be going out on. Now, the last time I was out, you saw me riding my old Claude Butler touring bike, which was great, and it is a great bike, but it's drop bars, and going any distance under my own power with all that weight on the back is, or can be, quite a challenge, and it certainly hurts my neck leaning forward in that riding position. So I've been looking at one of these for a little while now, and it's a new e-bike, and it's from a company called Big Game Bikes that you can clearly see on the side of the cycle, and they are based down Brighton Way near Worthing, I think. A great company, and the guy who owns it is a guy called Gareth, and he is a really stunning chap, full of help, full of advice, and lots of patience, especially with someone like me who is an absolute newbie. So he was really good to deal with, and I can't fault the company. Now, this is not a plug for him or the bikes. I just wanted to share with you what I've got and what I'm going out on, and I have quite happily got both an oil sack and a watercolor sack on the other side, with my two tripods in the middle on the back pannier. And weight wise, I've had to watch it because I'm quite a heavy chappy, and I felt that I needed a bike that could take quite a bit, and I am pushing on the limit. Now, when I got my cameras and a bit of food, snacks and one thing and another, I'm okay, but you've got to be a little bit wary that you don't exceed the gross weight limit of this, and the whole thing of this can take 120 kgs. So yeah, I'm quite a heavy chap, and it doesn't leave an awful lot of room for maneuver, but it's great. I love it. It's a fantastic bike. I've already been riding it to work each day, and I am so impressed with it. So without further ado, I'm going to get on and get finished packing for my today's trip. It's rather windy, so it's going to be a good challenge for cycling, and hopefully we've got some interesting clouds, and I have no idea where I'm going yet. I'm just going to ride until I find something. That is the beauty of one of these. You can go out in your local environment and keep cycling until you see something and just stop, unlike a car where you can't always stop easily. So yeah, wish me luck. I'm going to get on and I will film the journey out. I've got the GoPro on the front ready to go, so we'll see what happens. Join me later as we set up for some painting. Hi guys, well, I've cycled a few kilometers away from home. I'm on the back road from a place or a little village called Newchurch, and I'm looking over there, and I had sunshine and cloud. Now all I've got is threatening cloud, which is rather a shame because I've enjoyed the cycling, and as you can see, safety first, helmet, high vis, all of those things before I start painting. I'm going to get changed out of this, and I think I'm just going to do some sketching. That's what I wanted to do, an oil, and I wanted to do a bit of watercolor, and I wanted to make two films from that. So you're going to see this whichever channel you're watching this on, and hopefully it will form part of one or the other. All right, okay, so let's go back to the same idea that we had this morning, but I'm just going to come in with a little line through here to suggest my semi-horizon. I'm going to put another line in through here, somewhat higher, to give you an indication of where my true horizon is. And then I'm going to just plot in somewhere about there, I think. Simple circles, nothing too fussy, 2 simple circles, and I don't really want to draw any of the detail. I can put that in later. We're going to put this one in here a little closer, and it's a little more in the foreground. So let's just put this one, sort of tuck it away into this corner, give ourselves an idea of where this one is coming through, coming into the picture scene from here, like that. And we don't need to put too much more drawing in. Really, we can suggest a few plants if you feel that way, just to give yourself a reminder. And we can put in a hub in there and there. We've got to put our spokes in, of course, but we don't want to go too mad with this drawing. What we do need to do is get this about right. I'm going to put my tree line probably about here, so I know that this post here, and these are way too small. There you go. So again, I have fallen foul of not looking hard enough, and that really is the truth of it. You really should look very, very hard at what you're doing. I'm just getting a razor out. Okay, so let's take those all out of the equation just for the moment. We know we still got a little sense of where they are. So if I'm going to put my trees there, and they're going to come down to, say, that level there, there's my tree height. And I know that I've got to put some posts in. These ones are almost up to that height. So there's that one post there, and it comes all the way down to the ground in front of me. So just, let's say about there. And a much smaller one to one side of it, we're going to put into there. And that still comes in front of where these are. So now I've plotted these, and I'm going to come this way. I'm going to plot the second one of these, which is quite tall. It's through there. That sort of comes and bends this way quite substantially to give me a second trunk. This one sort of comes down into that area too. And spacing between these poles is not as good as I perhaps should have made it, but I'm not going to worry over it. At the end of the day, you're creating a picture based on what you're seeing, yes, but many artists around through millennia have altered the scene in front of them to portray or suggest a much better composition. And that's what I'm really trying to do here. There is yet another tree here, and it is actually in front of these, but again I have scrunched everything down. I'm just going to bring that through there and change where that tree actually is. But I think it works anyway. Okay, and we've got lots of little bits and pieces of trees and shrubs through the back here. And then we've got that part of the field running through there. Another part coming through on where these trees are. Field at the back with the sheep in. And there we are. Now we have the downs way off in the background. looking at where that telegraph pole is, they are a little sort of 2/3 up the pole, starting to climb, and then it evens out through all the way through the back here, not through the pole of course, through the back there. And although this pole is here, it is about where it should be in terms of height. You lose an awful lot of the downs in this area because of these bushes. A little bit shows up somewhere through here maybe, and then there's yet another tree, but we are not putting that one in. That's going to stay out of the scene like that. And we've got bits of debris in the field right in front of us, bits of old metal, stuff laying in the grasses. We have a couple of posts here just to finish this section off. Bring that down into there, into the foreground. Little bits of information. There's a little post in there, we can put that in, bring that down. Okay, I think we're good to start painting, really. And I'm going to try and capture that in if I can. I'm going to put a wash in. Now, because of the wind, it's going to dry pretty fast. I'm going to wet the paper down just very quickly. There's a little bit of yellow paint, or I guess it's a little bit of raw sienna. Get a lovely sense of light on that field all the way through there. I'm going to let that settle down. Then while I'm going to use some of this other green that I had from a previous painting, just going to put that in. Now, I didn't say that I'm actually using a rough paper for this. This is just a 140-pound rough paper, and yeah. The idea being that you can skip over the top and make some wonderful marks if you so wish to do so. All right, going to add in a little bit of sienna to some of those greenier colours. Now, while this is still damp, I am going to add in some sienna, a little bit of ochre, and I'm going to put into that a little bit of phthalo green. See how aggressive that green really is, but less water, more paint. So I can just drop it into here without too much worry about having awful cauliflowers appearing. And it can still happen, but if you take enough care, you should minimize what happens in that regard. Come in with some lovely cobalt blue, and I want to put that in my skies, a little bit of blue sky dotted around here in places. So I'm just going to suggest that, almost dry brush, lots more paint over water like that, and I'm going to leave areas that are suggestive of clouds. I'm going to leave that, and the rest of this is going to be cloud. That's the only blue sky that I can really see, and the rest of it will take that out. I'm going to put some of the neutral tint in, and this is the Schminker version, fairly light wash. Just going to come in and suggest the sort of undersides of cloud that are running through the scene. maybe a little bit more over here. The clouds are moving so fast, has to be said. They are really, I mean, there was blue sky, now there's not. Now we've got heavy sort of rainy clouds going on, but I love it. It's always a challenge. The sky is always moving. Just literally scratching these clouds over the top of other marks that are already there. I'm going to lose that mark, then I'm going to come back in with a bit of the Schminker neutral tint, just take that out, making a much bigger cloud, taking us off the top of the page like that. And then I will come back in with a little bit of the Payne's Grey, little tap of the neutral tint, bit of a dry brush, and just scratch into that there, making that a little stronger. The hills in the background, so I'm going to make a bit of blue and a little bit of the Payne's Grey and a touch of the green and a little bit of lemon yellow, or no, Indian yellow, sorry, just make that towards the lighter green color, but I want it quite dark because it is quite dark against the horizon line. Now I can't see quite where all my posts are. I'm trying to leave, gone through one, so I'm going to go through the lot to be fair. This is my hills, the downs. Okay, and where's a little bit of Cobalt Blue just to make a nice color green, and maybe even a little bit of Indian yellow just to make it a little more acidic. And now I'm going to put in my tree forms. I'm going to look at my trees, see where they need to go. So I've lost a lot of my drawn lines, but I'm just going to scratch in because these trees have got quite an open form, so I just want to put those in. And when that sun's catching them, a lovely colour green, which I think this works very well with. And I think I'm already getting to the point where I've got to stop. Leave that to dry out now. And I'm going to use some indigo for this. Make it quite a strong colour. But to that I want to add in a little bit of orange. Not too much. What I want to try and figure out where I put my posts. I've lost them completely, you know. Okay, I think we've got one that comes through here. I'm going to put that in there. It's quite a dark value, as you can see. This other one comes all the way up into there, comes down like so. Hopefully they will dry out as they, they will get paler as they dry. I'm just going to help that process. I'm going to put a little bit of warm colour too to help the whole thing stand out against the background. Comes down into the foreground like that. Now these are the only things in my painting that I'm really quite unsure about, because they're there and they are there, but really what are they saying? Because there's not enough information from them to say, well, it's an old barn, which in fact we know it is. Just getting a little bit of water, free this, make this move, lifting out that pigment. A good cotton paper will allow you to get away with this. Wood pulp can give up. All right, now I'm just going to come in here and just put some of these structures into our trees here so that they mean something. A little bit warmer maybe. And all the way down. A little bit of a shade around some of the trunks as they come down. So you can come in with a warmer value to start with, say like this light orangey brown. Take that all the way down there and into there. Orangey brown colour, and then you can always firm that up with a little bit more darker shadows as you want to. Picking out some of the clearings that I've created with that dry brush technique earlier. And we get a nice structure to the tree. I'm not trying to represent any particular part of this tree in terms of the actual tree that's sitting there. I'm just trying to convey the sense of the tree overall. It's always a tough decision to make whether you lift something, play around with it, because you disturb the watercolour, the wash that you put on, you do stand the chance of some horrible marks appearing. I think we got away with it. We dried it as we went, so I think we got away with that. And a little bit of dart through there. Ought to be using a bigger brush at this point, to be fair, but I'm not. Now I'm just going to draw in a few extra bits of information in our field back there and call that done. Alright, so we're going to put in a smaller brush and pick up that number 6 again, and I'm just going to put in a little bit of dark and use some of that lovely Payne's grey. Just going to start coming down here with a suggested side of our posts. The sun's gone round now, is giving us some nice shadowy parts to our posts there. What I will do though is anchor them to the grasses. I'm going to use some almost neat, not quite, almost neat Payne's grey, a little bit of the phthalo green. Now I'm going to add into that some Indian yellow. What I want to do is quite a strong suggestion of a shadow. They're not very big shadows at the moment. The day is still young. It does give a sense of their presence and their anchoring into the ground as such. Okay, so we now have them planted in the ground. So the last job really, I think, is let's put in our rusty old bits of ironwork, the old bits of plough machinery. So now I ought to make sure I've got the right colours to start. Of course, I'm going to come in with some burnt sienna. I'm just going to come round and literally quite draw the shapes that I want. Coming in with some darks now. This is where we got the shadow side of the wheel, the underside of the wheel coming away from the light. That helps to create the circle as such, and we got some darks in here on the hub. The light has come fully round now, so it's sort of playing a bit of a problem. A little bit dark in that wheel there. And yeah, let's just finish off by putting the dark side, as it were, of this post down here into that part. Soften the edge off as we did before. And why not? Let's just put a little bit of suggested shadow. All right, okay, I'm done. I think it's got a little heavy in places, to be fair, it has, but I've had enjoyment with this painting, and I hope you've got something from it as well and enjoyed the process. It's always very hard to paint outside, plein air, especially when you've got lots of wind, changing light every few seconds, and a mass of vehicles keep going past. But I think we didn't do too badly. I'm just going to take off the paper to reveal the painting underneath. Put that on there for use again. It's a nice thing about this washi tape, you can, if you're careful, when you take it off, you can actually get to use the paper, the tape another time, at least one more time. So it's good to take care of it as you take it off. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. There we are. One little watercolor of a scene that we sketched earlier completed. What I do want to do is just put a little signature. Okay, so just one final act then. Reveal is done. Let's just put a little signature down in this bottom corner out the way. Well, I've been cycling for a few kilometres. I'm on the back road out of a place called, a little village called Newchurch, and I've got a tremendous view in front of me now. It's spoiled. There's a little birdie up there singing its heart out. Can't see where it is. And probably because of that I can't identify what it is either. Right. But also to do a bit of a vlog for you guys. Now, I do find it very hard. to do vlogs sometimes, because when I'm sketching, there's so much traffic. Start again then. So I'm going to set up now amongst the aircraft, the cars, and the wind. I'm going to set up and do a little watercolor of the scene that you saw me painting or sketching earlier. So I'm going to do that right now. Alright, catch you all very, very soon.